Welcome to the bonus episode of 430 of Coronation Street with me, Gemma.
And me, Michael, live from Manchester.
Is it echoey, everybody?
It sounds like this is going to be a bit of an echoey podcast.
Does this make our voices sound more
resonant? Yeah, we're from our Airbnb, aren't we? We're up in Manchester, we're coming on our trip, and we've got lots of cool Corrie things planned over the next few weeks. So we thought for this week's bonus podcast, we'd just do a bit of a audio diary of what we've been up to this week. And you know what, we might just do the same again next week.
We might do. It depends on how lucky you guys are.
I know. We're having a nice time, aren't we? So for the podcast, we're also trying to match it to some video that we've shot as well, because you might be watching this on YouTube, and if you are, you've got some lovely videos of road scenes.
Something like that. Driving along the road. So we came to Manchester in a rather conventional manner, didn't we? By car.
Road.
We drove along a road, which I think, judging from the window, quite a few other people were doing. Seems to be quite a popular way to get around these days, especially, with COVID-19 and everything. The plane rides were out, weren't they?
Indeed.
Because usually, we'd take our jet, wouldn't we? Or a helicopter. But
just land in the Corrie backlot.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Hi, darlings.
We did have a nice sign welcoming us to Manchester when we got here. And
yeah.
There's a massive billboard that says, "Welcome back to Manchester."
There's lots of nice signs around the city centre going, "Welcome back." And it's like, this is so nice. You guys did not have to do this, though. I'm sure you've got better things to spend your money on.
Anyway, so yeah, we're going to be, over the next however long, going to be talking about what we're up to this week. And we're recording it in bits and bobs, in stops and starts, aren't we? It's Tuesday afternoon at the moment, so we're going to be talking a little bit about what we did yesterday and what we did this morning, and then we'll stop, and then we'll do a bit more recording later. And you can live vicariously through it as you like to do.
As we've all been doing over the past few months, we've all been living vicariously through various means, haven't we?
Yeah. So how are you enjoying our Airbnb so far, Gemma?
Oh, it's great. I've learned loads of things, like how to pick locks.
Yes, when we got here, it was a really hot apartment and all of the windows were locked, yet there was no key left. So we messaged our Airbnb host, and he was like, oh, I might have to get you a replacement one, but I don't know how long it'll be. And then he sent us a YouTube link to a video that says how to basically pick a lock, and it worked as well.
Wow.
So if you ever get stuck in an apartment, just give us a call and we'll be right over.
I feel very accomplished because the video they sent us was of somebody unscrewing like the metal part of a metal measuring tape, and I just used one of your credit cards.
Yeah.
So I am now available to break into any house you like. If anyone needs my services.
Exactly. So let's move on and talk about what we've been doing so far this week. So I guess yesterday afternoon was where it all started, wasn't it? Where did we go yesterday? Did we just go into town? Oh no, we went to the old set, didn't we? Which was quite cool. The Quay Street set we went to first, because we had dinner booked at, what's the place called?
20 Stories.
20 Story, which
incredibly expensive and highfalutin.
But it's all right because, there's a national emergency going on at the moment, and you get 50% off your food. Which is lovely.
It made nary a dent in the bill from last night.
It didn't, but we have saved money on other meals that we've had over the last few days, haven't we?
Yes, we have saved.
They're very
money.
Lovely. So we started off and we went around, because it was nearby there. We went to the old Quay Street set, which is where they had filmed Coronation Street up until 2015 or so. I can't remember exactly when it was. And there's barely a trace. I mean, we know the road quite well because we've been out there before. But at the end, you almost wouldn't know that this is where Coronation Street was, would you?
No, not at all. I mean, I think we posted recently on social media the aerial picture of what it looked like, but now it doesn't even look like that. No. In the aerial picture, you could sort of like make out where the street was and the buildings, and now it's just like a car park, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if you go up to 20 Stories, you can look out over Manchester. That's like the main selling point of the restaurant. It is very expensive. You can go there and just have drinks. You can probably say you're having drinks and go up, take a photo, and go back home again. There's nothing to see now.
You can actually, yeah. There isn't very much to see.
There's nothing to see of it.
No, it's really, really sad, really. But before we went there, we went and had a look around the outside, and it's also opposite the great, what's it called?
The
St John's Hotel,
God, yeah.
which is also closed off now. And we must have, again, walked past that loads of times before, but it didn't mean anything to us. But since going back and watching some of the 60s episodes of Coronation Street, we found out that this is the place that was used for Christine Hardman's suicide attempt in 1962.
Yep, she climbed on the roof.
Yeah, because it was used as the Ellison's raincoat factory, right?
That's right.
And there are some scenes that, again, we posted on our Instagram recently of her and Sheila Birtles on the top of the roof with their hands against the railings. And it was like, oh, we recognise those railings. It was cool. And yes, so we looked up at that. And it was also the place that they used once for, I think it was when Deirdre was getting a coroner's report about how Samir died. And they used the front of that building as the coroner's.
I think they've used that
place.
building for various other things. But
I mean, it makes sense if they did, honestly. Because it was right next door. And I think you said that maybe some of the old Corrie stars used to stay there sometimes when...
I don't remember.
Yeah. So,
I don't remember.
Yeah, so that was cool. And you can see from up in 20 stories, just about what that looked like as well. Although the actual scene that when Sheila Birtles is lying against the side of the the incline on the roof.
You mean Christine Hardman?
Oh, it's Christine Hardman, sorry, and then Ken climbs up next to her. We couldn't really tell where that was from on high, could we?
I think they've changed it.
Because it was flat, yeah. So, and also just down the road from that is the St John's Park, which is a place that they've used loads in Coronation Street. I think it sometimes is the Red Wreck, but I mean, I think when Sophie and Maddie were homeless, they filmed some stuff there. I think Shona was looking for one of her old friends there once, but because that was just round the corner, if they wanted a quick bit of greenery, then that's where they'd go to. But it's all just in Victoria Gardens now, isn't it? So it makes me wonder whether they'll just kind of give up using that space.
It's much more convenient to film in the set.
Yeah. It was a bit overgrown as well, but it was nice to see, and I think we'd been there once or twice before, but again, having been able to see a little bit more of it on the telly recently, it had a bit more meaning for us. So that was very, very nice. And then this morning, we went into Media City because we'd arranged to meet Charlie and Georgia, Charlie DeMello, Georgia Taylor, who we're friendly with outside of the podcast. And
that's right. We have friends.
Yeah.
People listen to us when we're not talking about Coronation Street.
Yeah, we talk about all sorts of things with them.
So we talk about a load of crap.
We got on the tram, which is we will have to wear our masks on the tram, don't we? Most people are.
Yeah.
But not everybody is, I have to say, considering that Manchester is in a bit more of a dire situation than a lot of the rest of the country at the moment. Yeah, exactly. Even we went into a shop yesterday and to pick up our Airbnb keys.
Even today, people in shops, inside shopping centres,
just
around with no
brazenly
masks
walking
on.
around unmasked.
But anyway, so when we went to meet up with Charlie and Georgia, we were all socially distanced.
We were, very important. We stayed our distances from each other. No hugging.
And at times it got a bit crazy because I was in such a social distance mindset that I was like walking away from you as well. So I was like, it made this big square of like people trying to avoid each other.
Yeah. So we just had like a few laps around the Media City area, didn't we?
Just flipping.
Luckily not getting rained on too much. When we woke up this morning, we'd been looking over the weather forecast the last few days, hadn't we? And it did look a bit like it might be a bit ropey some days this week, but it was supposed to be not too bad this morning. Then we get up and it was a bit drizzly, and by the time we arrived at Media City,
it was like
the heavens opened a bit, didn't they?
It was like rain, wind, and cold. It was like October.
Yeah, it really, really was.
And I was like, oh.
It was quite funny when we actually met up with them because just the rain was just stopping them, wasn't it? And we had Georgia coming out of the back of the set, Charlie coming from down by the Imperial War Museum the other side, and they basically got to us at the same time, didn't we? It was perfect timing. So we had a couple of walk rounds and chats, and we had a drink and stuff. It was lovely.
We had a takeaway drink.
We did, yeah, we did. Always lovely to catch up with them, talk about this and that. Find out. I don't think we found out too many behind the scenes Corrie secrets, but maybe a few that we're not allowed to say. And we ended up. Where did we end up? Oh, we ended up going around the front of the set, which is the place that they use for
Highfield Prison.
Yeah, for the prison.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, before that though, we had an encounter with Matt Helton, didn't we? A chance encounter.
Yeah, because we were doing a big loop. We went
up by the Lowry Shopping Centre, and yeah, we're walking along, and one of the two of them said, "Oh, there's Matt Hilton," and it was. And I don't know whether he recognised me. He kind of pointed at me like he did, and I think he might have said Michael's
He did say his name.
we obviously not met before, but we did that interview together last year, and it was just like all five of us were standing.
The thing is,
at a distance from each other. It was like one of those Mexicans shoot standoff scenes.
Yeah, and it's like very very un-English and not polite to not only be socially distanced, but to be sort of yelling at each other because you're so far apart and it's windy. And normally, that'd be quite rude because you keep your voice down and don't involve people in your conversations. But it was like, hi, how are you? I'm fine.
Yeah. But, that was nice to chat to. We only chatted for like 2-3 minutes or so, didn't we? Because we had to get off somewhere. It's just weird all the time, like not being able to get close to people, and it was odd.
You do sort of like adapt pretty quickly and become like what's it, germaphobes.
Yeah, you do practice when we going back to work in September. Yeah, and then we ended up around the front of the set because we wanted to do a couple of photos for Instagram, which you might have seen. And we did a little synchronised jump in the air, didn't we? We didn't know how to do it. We were spaced out. We had to make sure we kept our distance.
Because you guys, it's not really obvious from the pictures, but you guys were
well apart,
very apart, but also staggered.
Yeah.
So you were. I think Charlie was right behind you guys.
Yeah,
because he's taller, he doesn't look that far away.
I think it was Georgia that suggested we do the jump, didn't she? So we did a semi-synchronised jump in the end. You can see from the pictures. We almost managed it.
My photography skills weren't up to much.
You did a fantastic job.
Well, I was like making a big deal about how hard it was for me to take a photo of you guys jumping. Meanwhile, you guys were just jumping up and down.
We did quite a few jumps.
To my command, so that was a bit of power that I wielded very briefly.
Yeah, we had to do a couple of them because on one of them I did a jump and my t-shirt rode a bit too high up, didn't it?
Hairy tum-tum.
Yeah. So, that's maybe patrons only, that pitch.
Oh, yeah, how about that? We need to do an extra tier. Patrons it's the Rovers After Dark.
We saw a couple of people while we were just hanging around the gates chatting because nobody else was there, were we? Around the back of the gates there were a few people waiting for the cast to come out, even though it's probably not a very good idea at the moment. I think they're not allowed to stop and chat at the moment.
Yeah. So there are barriers up very close to the gates, but there's nobody out there. I really honestly think there should be somebody out there.
Yeah, there should. Old Dave, he poke people.
I think Dave's otherwise engaged.
So we were waiting around out there for quite a while, and then we saw Julia Goulding drive up in her car, didn't we? Sure, she was just leaving the studio.
Lovely, aren't they?
And then she wound down the window, and we had a chat from about 6-7 meters away, shouting into her car, and she was shouting back. So that was nice.
She's going, "Get off my lawn!"
And then
no, she wasn't.
She drove off, and then a minute or so later, Jack P. Shepherd came down in his flashy black car, didn't he? He didn't see us.
He was like,
he didn't see we were there at all, but we saw him.
Yeah, we saw him.
Yeah, and then we headed back into Georgia went into the set then, didn't she? She had to go and get her car, and then Charlie and us walked down the road for a little bit longer because he was parked somewhere else, and then we had to get the tram from somewhere else, and then we had another little wander around Media City, and that was that. So that was lovely.
It was very nice. It is very strange though.
I know there was
feeling because you always feel furtive and wrong, don't you?
Yeah.
Like just being there for no real good reason.
Yeah, people judging us from outside as well.
Well, we followed all the guidelines and all the rules, and we were drinking antibacterial hand wash the whole time. So I think we'll be alright.
Yeah. So that was cool, and we hopefully can have a what?
And we went into Boots and we bought a butter pie.
Oh yes, we did, didn't we?
Which sounds like a really southern thing. Butter pie.
You wanted to try it, didn't you? Is this a local?
The delicacy. It's nice. Yeah. It's really nice.
We sat at the tram stop and ate that afterwards, and then that's it so far. We've come back to the Airbnb, and we're having a bit of a. We just watched the Corrie Scandals programme from last night, didn't we? And then we're going to be we're going to be going out to tea in a bit, which I'm sure you'll hear a bit more about later.
Yeah.
Hello again. It is Wednesday morning now. We've been to Annie's last night. Gemma, as our resident food expert, would you like to give your critique?
No, we went to Annie's and we had. You had the steak burger, didn't you?
I had a steak burger.
And I had
very
the
nice.
hot pot, which I always have.
Yes, it's a lovely place to go to. We've been there loads of times now, and I had a little loyalty card that I was hoping to be able to stamp off, but it turns out you've got to have a hot drink to do it. So this loyalty card I've been using for like 3 or 4 years because I come up north so infrequently.
Can I get this stamp, please? And she sort of looked like, like I thought she was going to say, we've stopped doing those. And I was like, oh no.
No. I've only got one more, then I get my free coffee.
But the lady that served us was called Victoria, and she was very, very nice.
She was very nice. We didn't get, table service by Jenny McAlpine herself, as she was not there. However, you can, sometimes, I don't know whether she still does show up at the restaurant, but I suppose in these unprecedented times, it's probably not a very good idea for Jenny and her partner Chris to be schmoozing with the rabble like us.
But it has been known.
It has been known. The first time we went to Annie's, we saw her. It was lovely.
I think I remember having the corned beef hash cake for starters once before when we went. We didn't have starters this time, but that was really nice. It's got like a poached egg on the top. I quite like that.
Yeah, we didn't have starters yesterday, did we?
No, we did not.
We did not.
And you had a jam roly-poly for pudding, didn't you?
Yes.
And custard.
Yes. Well, they used to have like a fizz-related pudding there called a fizz bomb, which was like a chocolate bomb with popping candy on, but they do not have that one anymore, so I couldn't have the house speciality. But didn't you have a...
I had a themed thing. I had the soap star martini, which has been renamed from a rather ruder name. But I like that. That was tasty.
Yeah, it was a very lovely evening. It was
nice and quiet.
It was nice and quiet. There were some other people there, but not loads. We didn't go super late, did we? So
we went like 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I imagine we might have filled up a bit later.
It was before 6 when we got there.
Yeah.
I was like never eaten dinner. That was breakfast for me actually.
But it was good as well because we had our half off, didn't we? Up to £10.
Yeah.
So it made a bit of a difference. But yeah, really, really recommend having a go. Go
have a go there.
Have a go at Annie's restaurant. It's just down a little side alley off St Anne's Square in Manchester. And yet you never know, you might see Jenny McAlpine. You might do. Yes, it was lovely. And then we came back here and we tried out a Corrie jigsaw, which... My
back was aching so bad at the end of that.
We spent like 2.5 hours, didn't we? And we've still got quite a way to go. But was this one that we found in Auntie Valerie's cupboards when we were ransacking her house earlier this summer? And she hadn't used it, had she? Because it was all the pieces were bagged up and sealed.
You still can't find all the edges, you say?
Well, I think
some missing.
It's been many a year since we've done a jigsaw, but strategy I understand is find the edges and the corners, and we're still missing like 3 edge pieces. I'm sure they're in there somewhere.
So, but we ever done a jigsaw together?
I don't think we've ever done a jigsaw together, but I thought it was nice because this is a Coronation Street double axe themed jigsaw. And it fit the theme of our trip very nicely. So it's fun.
You were in charge of doing the edges, and I was in charge of finding the text and putting the text together. Yeah,
because it's basically a jigsaw that's got, about 50 or so famous couples and double acts or whatever. Then it's like it's written as it's drawn like a collection of Polaroids, isn't it?
Yeah, with their names written underneath them, and so I was putting those together, and must have been about 4 or 5 McDonald's. I know. All going on at the same time, and lots of STs all over the place. I still haven't got everybody's name.
I'd like to say thank you very much to Tisha Mary for wearing such a distinctive outfit in the picture, because she was the first person I was able to piece together.
Well, there you go.
Because of the nice pink and black zigzaggy ensemble that she was wearing.
Well, I haven't really looked at the picture well enough. I've just been going on text, so. Once I look at the picture a bit more, I think I'll be able to pick out people's outfits.
Yeah, I don't know whether I want to, blast through it now and just keep on going until we're done, or just try and eke it out over the 2 weeks. I feel it'd be sad if it's, we finish it tonight and then we've got no more jigsaw to do.
I've got loads of other things to do that aren't jigsaws, Michael.
We'll see. So anyway, we're off on a trip today. We're going to go to Tatton Park, which is where the Coronation Street ladies visited back in the 1960s. I can't remember the actual date of that. 64 maybe? It was...
62.
No, it wasn't that early, because it was for Elsie's...
67.
We'll find out for when we do some recording next.
30th of August.
It was for Steve and Elsie's, it was for Elsie's hen party,
Yes.
wasn't it? Yeah.
So we had Emily and Hilda and Irma going. If you're a Patreon, you would have heard me going on about this is one of my favourite episodes of the 60s.
Let's not talk about it now, though. Let's wait until we can get a bit of film footage that we can put over this for the people watching this on YouTube.
We'll talk about where they filmed.
Talk more about it later on.
Quiet then.
So we're off out. See you later. All right, so it's Friday now, isn't it?
Gosh.
What a week. Hot day as well today. Hot and bothered. But we've had some more Corrie fun stuff that we've been doing since... When was the last time we did some recording? Was it Wednesday? I don't know, I've lost track. No, it might have been... Yeah, it was before we went to Tatton Park, wasn't it? Which we had a jolly good time at.
Tatton Park was really great.
We felt very cultured going to there. We almost could have got away with, not standing out like Coronation Street fans there. We were just like educated members of the public.
Yeah.
Revelling in culture.
It was a big... So it had a big courtyard, and then there's like a farm, gardens, and the mansion to look in. And we went into the gardens first. Yeah,
I only sort of bought tickets for the gardens at the last minute, didn't we? Because you have to buy tickets for the different bits of it separately. But we decided to go to the gardens because we'd watched the Tatton Park episode of Coronation Street again just before we went.
But also, I knew that we could have gone to the gardens. You keep saying, like, I didn't realise that we could go, but I didn't book tickets to go to it originally because it looked like it was going to be very, very miserable. But then when I checked the weather, it looked like it would be clear. So I said, let's go to the gardens as well.
And we did, and it was fine. It was lovely.
Because in the episode, which is one of my favourite episodes, you told me I couldn't talk about it until now, so I'm going to. One of my favourite episodes of Coronation Street in the 60s was Elsie Tanner and Steve Tanner's stag and hen do's, and the boys went on the barge, and we're still going to track down that barge because it's still in service.
Oh yeah, it is, isn't it?
In Surrey somewhere. And they went on the barge up and down, and Dennis was in charge. He was the skipper in his very tight little shorts, prancing around with a Horace Thief horse. And the girls went off to Tatton Park. And Minnie found the actor who played...
it's Godfrey, wasn't it, from Dad's Army?
Dad's Army was sort of like this old man who goes there all the time, but she thought he was Lord Tatton Park. And so they both sort of like went off together, leaving Ina to scowl. And we had Irma and Hilda wandering around, and Hilda's going, "Oh, I say," about everything. There's quite a funny video that Michael edited together of modern things that you should definitely watch.
I've just made a little video, a little clip after we spent the whole trip looking for things that Hilda would say, "Oh, I say," in 2020, wouldn't we? Mostly related to coronavirus and this and that, but that was quite fun. What we also enjoyed doing was trying to recreate some shots, some screenshots that we'd taken, didn't we? So we had Emily standing on the steps out the back of the hall in the garden, so you've got a picture of me standing on the same very spot that Eileen Derbyshire stood at. We've got a spot at the fountain, because do you want to say the story of the fountain?
Was a pair of stunt keys for that, because there was a pervy bus driver who was trying to molest Elsie Tanner all the way through, and she ran up a hill to get away from him, and then he followed her, so she told him to give her the keys to the coach, and then she threw them in the... he said, "I can do things for you," and she went, and then she grabbed his keys, threw them in the fountain, and said, "Go and catch us a pair of kippers for supper," or something like that. It was really funny.
Yeah, so we took a comparison shot of that. We took a comparison shot of the mansion from the back.
One thing I will say is that you can't go to the little shrine.
Oh yeah, there's a little Japanese garden there, wasn't there?
There's a Japanese garden, you can go and look at it. But this was a scene where Val takes Steve Tanner off to one side and basically says, "Don't you mess our Elsie around, okay, Buster?" And they walk over this little bridge and go and sit in the little Shinto shrine, and that's all blocked off. It does look incredibly ancient and precarious.
Oh yeah,
I'd want to go over that. Elsie tottered over it in her high heels.
It would be a health and safety nightmare if it was open, that little bridge these days. So
and most of the other things
far away
that are in Coronation Street are on the ground floor. The music room.
Oh, with the actual
library,
house itself, yeah.
The dining room and the foyer, which was used for some scenes for
Roy and Hayley's wedding.
Yeah, Roy and
their
Hayley's
2010
wedding.
wedding.
And the
we went to the
exterior
room.
as well was also used for Sean and Sophie's wedding.
No, I don't know. It wasn't Sean and Sophie's wedding. That was
in
the episode where Roy and Hayley got married. That was where it all came out about.
Oh right, yeah.
Sophie having to come out.
I did get confused because they were wearing nice wedding clothes, but I thought they eloped, so I got confused.
No, that's what that was.
Yeah,
it was really cool. We managed to find a lot of the same rooms, didn't we? And did some comparison shots and
same portraits still there. Like, they don't update their decor.
It was a really nice day out. I mean, I think it was one of those things where normally I'm not naturally an old country house. What do we call it? Stately home kind of guy.
Aren't you?
Not really.
Oh, damn.
But the fact that we just watched an episode of Coronation Street that was filmed there, it somehow made it a whole lot more exciting for me.
This puts the brakes on my plans to join
National
English Heritage.
Yeah, because Corrie aren't even filming location shoots at the moment. Because what you could do is give him a bit of money and say, look, I want to take Michael off to such and such a house. Please, can you just film a Coronation Street scene there and it'll lap up.
Finally, most of the shops were closed there, but the little farm shop thing that they've got, produce shop or whatever it's called, was still open. So we bought some lamb that's been reared in the grounds of Tatton Park, which I'm going to make into a hot pot.
Oh, yes.
And I bought some bacon, sausages, and some nice whirls of smoked white and black pudding. And we had a lovely fry up on our anniversary morning, didn't we? We
did. That was lovely. So that was basically our day out on when was that? That was Wednesday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then that brings us to today, then Friday, where we did a little whistle stop tour of it's kind of the northwest bit of Manchester, wasn't it? We've made a Google Maps.
All of it was Manchester, was it?
No, Greater Manchester area. We've made a little thing on Google Maps where we've put some little pins down and these all kind of grouped together. So first off, we went to Victoria Park, which is over in Salford, and that was where Tony Warren lived very nearby for a lot of his adult life, apparently.
He lived in Park Avenue, and he really liked Victoria Park, and it was very pretty. It had a very grand bandstand, and he's got a plaque on. Oh, what building was it? I don't know what the building was.
A blue building.
You can go and look at that, and it just said he loved the park.
Yeah, that was put there a couple of years ago. He's got his dates on and everything, so that was quite nice. We just stopped off there for a little bit.
We just whisked through it, didn't we?
We did have a very brisk whisk through Victoria Park. But the picture that we put on social media, that's doing quite well at the moment. And then we went off from there to St Mary's Church, which is where they filmed a lot of Corrie weddings and funerals and baptisms kind of stuff.
We've been there before, but since we have been there, several notable things have happened, such as we had the Liz and Jim storyline with Katie's grave.
Yes, so one of the final scenes that Jim was in and his recent return was the awesome graveyard scene with Liz and Jim, where she pushes him over because she's just found out that he's made it up, that their dead daughter Katie has been back from the dead and living on Australia all this time. So that was quite cool. There's
also the bit where Billy's brother was skulking about. They did some fancy crane shots. I couldn't quite replicate them with my little arms, but I had a go. And that's when he was trying to hit Billy up for drugs, and they both got into all the drugs.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff filmed inside the church as well, which we couldn't get into.
Did we even try?
No, we didn't try. It was all locked up, wasn't it?
Well, there was not even a priest listed.
But what I was really proud of finding was Sinead's grave, or the place where Sinead's grave would be, because we had one of the publicity shots of Daniel kind of crouched next to it, didn't we, doing a little squat next to the grave looking sad, and we thought, it took us a while, didn't it, to find it, and we thought, is this definitely the same place? I'm sure they said they filmed it here, and then we spotted some little black railings in the background and realised that it was a bit further down the graveyard than we initially thought.
The main bit of the graveyard, down slopes, to get right the way down the bottom of the hill, and you'll be able to see it.
It's quite an extensive graveyard, isn't it?
It's huge.
A bit overgrown as well at the moment.
That's great. I think that's fine. I mean, one of my favourite graveyards is on Southampton Common, and that's completely overgrown because they are encouraging wildlife, and I think it's very important. I think it's nice that a graveyard can become a habitat for animals. And insects.
Where Sinead's grave was just like a little patch of dirt, wasn't it? So I think when Corrie go over there to film these grave scenes, next to the gravestone scenes, they just have to
They
find...
bring their own.
They do. They bring their own headstone,
that's the only way to
plonk
do
it down where there's an empty bit, because, there was nothing down there, obviously, and the same for Katie's grave as well. And I think they probably used the same spots over and over again for different characters, to be honest.
I had a little fantasy as we were walking around that I think you would quite like. It's when you die. What I thought would be quite cool is if we get you buried there, and then we can use your grave. We say, look, you can use this. We're not disrespectful. We use this grave.
He'd love it.
Corrie filming. He'd be so happy. You would love that, wouldn't you? Do you think that?
Yeah, and because it'll be like really far in the future, fingers crossed. Maybe I'll be able to have a little computerised headstone, and then you can just change the with the words on it.
Yeah.
You'd have to re-chisel.
A digital one.
Indeed.
Yeah. Or we could just buy a polystyrene sleeve to drop over the top of your one.
Yeah, something like that.
The other thing I was going to say is that, he plays Daniel.
Rob Mallard.
Rob Mallard did make... What?
You forget him sometimes, don't you?
No, I forget all names, Michael.
Oh, that's true.
Have you not been listening to this podcast? Why do you always give me a hard time about it?
I'm sorry.
Anyway, he, on Instagram, saw us... Or was it Twitter?
Twitter, I think.
And he was like... If you want to recreate it properly, you have to have your head being bitten by midges.
Yes, there's a bit of behind-the-scenes Corrie gossip.
And also, Daniel Brocklebank said, categorically, apparently, I don't know if you can believe him, there are no drugs at the church left. I think Billy's had them all. So we had some fan interaction there. I think all celebrity fans.
Yes.
Yeah. And we also, they're not really fans. And also, Jack P. Shepherd told us that there were lots of corpses, weren't there?
Oh yeah, it's just piled full of Corrie corpses, that graveyard.
Buried there?
Yeah, Billy, child of Todd and Sarah.
Loads of people.
Kylie, apparently.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
So pretty much if you've got somebody buried in Corrie, they'll be buried at that graveyard, and I can see why, because it's very out of the way, nicely tucked away. And I think the most important reason why they chose this as a location for Corrie is that it's near a pub, so they can go and have a quick pint after they've done their film.
I completely agree. From there, we made a quick stop off to Bury FC, which is what they use as the Weather County Football Club. We got there, and I was a bit scared about it going in, but it was completely deserted, wasn't it? It was open and deserted.
I mean, everything feels apocalyptic now, as you all know. But this was even more so because not only was there coronavirus just wafting in the breeze, but also it's basically abandoned football club because Bury FC is no more, is it?
Isn't it?
No, I think it's closed.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
Why did you think there are all those jerseys and scarves and people writing Bury Football Club, blah blah, to 2019, and all these notes going? There was a note there going, "Oh, you parasites, it's your fault that the club is closed. If only you..." Like all this horrible...
I didn't even pick that up, but you might be right. So we saw the place where Gemma got stuck in a turnstile. Not you, darling. The other Gemma got stuck in a turnstile, although you couldn't replicate that shot because they had little doors to close over. But they weren't very thin turnstiles
like that before. But I don't go to football grounds. But they looked like tiny doors to go into little toilets.
Yeah, they did, and there was also a little place where Emma and Steve and James and Michael were lined up, ready to try and scatter Emma's dad's ashes, her fake dad's ashes as well. So I recreated a shot of that. So that was quite fun. And then we finished off our day-to-day little trip to Heaton Park, which is what they've used quite a lot for red rec shots. Stuff. Yeah, if you want a vast, sprawling outdoors area for Coronation Street, then Heaton Park's the place to go. So they had Go on.
Red Rec, though, is an amalgamation of many different locations throughout Manchester. So Heaton Park is one of the main places, but they also use Chimney Pot Park, which is not called Chimney Pot Park, it's called something else.
Yeah, and St John's Park as well.
Yeah, so the Red Rec is scattered to the wind.
Yeah, but Heaton Park is the massive one. So Roy was caught sleepwalking there in his dressing gown by Deirdre one time. They had a 5k run, which is where Lloyd had his heart attack. Most recently, it was used as the petting zoo when Leanne and Nick and that lot took baby Ollie to go and look at the cows there. Unlike Ollie, we didn't get to see any cows on our trip there, but it was heaving with people, wasn't it? Because it was flipping hot. So I had an ice cream and that was about it. Oh, and it was also, of course, the boating lake where Roy and Hayley had their first kiss as well, and then they also, like us, went on a little Corrie locations visiting tour as Hayley was, petering out. They redid it as well there. So that was quite nice as well, but it was very, very hot, so we didn't stay there too long. Maybe we'll go again next week. And that's it. That's our end of our first week in Manchester, isn't it? Had a lovely week.
Yeah.
Highlight
I'm
of the
tired.
week, Gemma?
No, tired.
What's been your favourite thing, Corrie and non-Corrie, for this week?
Oh, I really like going to Tatton Park. I like going to these stately homes anyway. I didn't realise that you didn't particularly like them.
I don't not like them. I just, they're not on my favourite list of top 10 favourite things to do. Okay, maybe top 5.
I can't believe this.
I don't mind doing them.
I was really excited about the idea that we would be able to join English Heritage.
I like the gardens. That's fun.
We'll have to talk about this off air.
Uh-oh.
I really liked Tatton Park.
Seeing Charlie and Georgia was obviously fantastic as well.
Yes, that was really nice, even though it's
talk
freezing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a frosty reception that we had, though, was it?
No.
Both really, really lovely. I love both of them. So cool.
Non-correlated things, I have to say that some of the food places we've been to have been pretty awesome.
One thing
like the
I forgot,
Ivy we went to last night.
Hang on. One thing I forgot to say when we met up with Georgia and Charlie was fashion. Ooh, like what you're wearing. Because they were a nice outfit.
Charlie had a nice rainbow t-shirt, and you said you quite appreciated Georgia's shoes.
Yes, and she had a very nice cool jacket on. Yes, and we went to the Ivy because we were being very posh for our anniversary, 10-year anniversary.
Yeah, it was our 10-year wedding anniversary yesterday, so we splashed out, went to the Ivy, and
Michael
it was
did not
lovely.
like the bill.
Oh my gosh, certainly didn't.
And when we got there, it was hilarious because standing outside were some paps, weren't there? Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they got tipped off that anyone was a celebrity going in. You pointed out that it can't have been us because... Well, it could have been us because nobody knows what I look like. So they wouldn't have known who to take a photo of, would they?
Yeah, you have an air of mystery at the moment about you, don't you, on social media?
I felt very intimidated going into there. This is the first time I felt intimidated going into a posh restaurant in my entire life.
It was lovely out there. We didn't see any celebrities, although I certainly was having a very good look.
I will say 20 Stories and the Ivy are full of a particular sort of fashionable young lady whom next to me I look like a potato. But it's really funny because you don't. I
wouldn't have you any other way.
I never go to places like in London. I've been to lots of posh restaurants. It's one of my things I like to do. I know it's a bit elitist, but it's one of my things I like to do. But you don't. The ones I go to, I don't see people like that.
Yeah,
there must be there's obviously places like that in London, but the trendy places, because Manchester's so small, the trendy places and the posh places kind of overlap way more than they do anywhere else. So you get like the Ivy where it's like 30 quid for a steak, and then you get these girlies coming in with like, where's your dress, love? I don't know what's happened. You look fab, but you also look cold, and it's really hot. So I enjoyed that. What was your favourite thing?
What? I think the Ivy is probably my favourite non-Corrie thing as well. To be honest.
Also went to 20 Stories as well because we're doing the Eat Out to Help Out thing, and so you get money off. And they also have a special menu, so it wasn't very expensive. But that was nice because you got to see over to the set, didn't you? So
that was cool. That was
worth doing.
Yes. So that
Did we mention that earlier?
I can't remember whether we did. I think we did.
But if you're really into Corrie, you should have gone to 20 Stories about 6 months ago.
Yeah, there's not much to look down on anymore. Right, I think that'll do. That is our bonus episode for episode 430 of the podcast, and also hoping quite a few people are watching this on YouTube as well, because hopefully it'll be full of lovely video footage to keep you all entertained. Lots of sweeping shots of things. So I don't know.
Lots of wobbly
that's
hands.
Your bag, exactly. And we've got to go and get on and record the rest of our podcast later.
So this is the bonus podcast, so that means that we've got to say goodbye.
We do have to say goodbye. Goodbye, everybody.
No, hang on. Conversation Street on Twitter, we've got Instagram, we're on YouTube, and...
Like and subscribe.
And also you've got to say about the theme tune.
The music for this podcast came from podcastthemes.com.
So we're going to go now, bye.